Welcome back. Yeah, in this video, I'm going to explain how you can divide complex numbers. In the previous video, I explained how you can add, subtract, and multiply complex numbers. Then I stated that when you are adding two complex numbers together, then you are going to have the sum to be a complex number. Likewise, when you are subtracting, or you are multiplying two complex numbers. So, and don't forget, I told you in the last video as well that if you are multiplying a number with its conjugate, what do I mean by a conjugate? That is when you have a plus bi. So then the conjugate of a plus bi, if your z is a plus bi, the conjugate of a plus bi denoted by this is a minus bi. So if you are taking the product of a number and its conjugate, then you are going to have a real number alone. You are going to have a real number alone. That's that. So but today I'm going to explain how you can divide complex numbers together. It is very simple. For example, I'm going to divide it into two parts. That is how you can divide a complex number by a real number alone, and how you can divide complex number by another complex number. So for example, let's say I write simplify 2 plus 4i divided by 2. This is not difficult to do. Just give the denominator to each of the terms, then I'm going to have 2 divided by 2 plus 4i divided by 2, and I'm going to have 1 plus 2i. This is very simple, isn't it? Yeah. So likewise, if you have 3 plus 7i divided by 3, this is also simple as well. That's going to give you 3 divided by 3 plus 7 divided by 3i. That's 1 plus 7 divided by 3i. So, but what of the case whereby you are going to divide a complex number by another complex number? Let's say I have another example, example 2. Simplify 3 plus 2i divided by 2 minus I. This is not difficult to do as well. Recall the first two example I gave when we were dividing a complex number by a real number, it was very simple. So our denominator then there was what? Was a real number. Why can't we just make the denominator here a real number too? And don't forget, how can we make a denominator a real number? By multiplying it by what? By its conjugate, with what I've explained in the previous video. Remember, the product of a complex number and its conjugate is going to give you, a real number. You understand now? So then 3 plus 2i divided by 2 minus I, then you multiply by the conjugate. But don't forget, what you do for denominator, you have to do it for the numerator too. Then this is going to be, what's the conjugate of 2 minus I? That's 2 plus I divided by 2 plus I. You understand? Then I'm going to have 3 plus 2i, 2 plus I. You can use your difference of 2 squared like I've explained. That's 2 squared minus I squared. So if you expand this, this is going to give me 6 plus 3i plus 4i, right? Then minus 2. Do you know how it is minus 2? 2i times I. That's 2 times 1, 2. I times I is I squared, and I squared is minus 1. That's why I have minus 2 here. Then divided by 4, minus into minus 1, because I squared is minus 1, right? So then if you simplify further, don't forget if you have to add or subtract two complex numbers, what you are going to do is to combine the real part with the real part, imaginary with the imaginary. Then I'm going to have 6 minus 2 plus 3i plus 4i divided by 4 plus 1. That's going to give me 4 plus 7i divided by 5. Then you will now have real number you can divide by each of the term. That's 4 over 5 plus 7 divided by 5i. You can see it is very simple. Yeah. Okay. What of this? If I have 3 plus 5i divided by 5 minus 3i, how are you going to do this? You know, it is simple when you have your denominator to be what? To be real number. And you can make this real number. How do you do that? Since you have 5 minus 3i, which is a complex number, if you multiply it by its conjugate, what is conjugate of 5 minus 3i? That's going to give me 5 plus 3i. So if you multiply it like that, you are going to have what? Real number. Then this is going to give me 3 plus 5i divided by 5 minus 3i. What you do for numerator, you must also do it for the denominator. Then you have 5 plus 3i, 5 plus 3i. So if you simplify it further, then I'm going to have something of this nature. 3 plus 5i, 5 plus 3i. Don't forget this difference of 2 squared, then I'm going to have 5 squared minus 3i squared. If you multiply it, simplify further, this is going to give me 15 plus 9i plus 25i. What is 5i times 3i? 5i times 3i, you can write it down so that you don't make mistake. That's minus 15. Then minus 15 divided by 25 plus 9. Do you know how I obtained plus 9? This is minus 9 minus 9 times minus. That's going to give me positive. So then this is going to give me, don't forget, if you are adding or subtracting complex number, you merge real with real, imaginary with imaginary. Then this guy will cancel this guy. So 29, 9i plus 25i is going to give me what? 34i, then divided by 34. So that's going to give me I. So that's going to give me I. You understand now? So in general, it means when you have something of this nature, a plus bi, and you divide it by b minus ai, then you are going to have I. So you can prove that at your nail time. So you can see it is simple, very simple how you can divide two complex numbers together. So what you must obtain or what you must notice is that if you are dividing by real number, it is very simple. Just divide it by each of the term. But if you are dividing a complex number by another complex number, you have to be careful. You have to change the denominator to a real number first. And how do you change it to real number? You multiply the complex number by its conjugate. Then you now simplify further. So thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe if you've not done so. Like and share with your colleagues so that they can benefit too. Till I meet you in the next video, thank you.